Paranormal Evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices.
Paranormal Evidence.
Live.
Good evening and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Tony Rathman. Oh, it says Cherie, but she is ill tonight, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I'm not ill and I'm Chris Allgood.
I'm finally not ill and I'm Audrey Keeler.
You're muted.
I said same here, but I'm Lourdes Gonzalez.
And I'm Ron Yacovetti and I'm ill in an 80s sense, yo.
Yeah. That'll work. That'll work.
Yeah, he'll be ill in. Yeah,
I'll be ill in a little bit.
Well, we have a very exciting show tonight. We have Kory and Lexi McFadden, and they are with a group called Married to the Void. So I think before I bring them in and let them give us their background, their history, and how they got involved, all that sort of fun thing. There is something I was going to save this to the end, and I thought, no, let's do this right away. But wow, that was a weird glitch. I lost the show for a second.
It's right
Ron, do you want to give a real quick, well, not real quick, but do you want to give a promotion for this?
Yes, and it will be real quick. That's the book. That's my first book that's coming out this year with Beyond the Fray Publishing. Paranormally Speaking, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown. It's got my foray into the field, which is I think relevant now because Tony asked that question of all our guests, because that's one of the things that everybody wants to know when they're introduced to a new guest. So it talks about that. It gives a little into how I get into the paranormal, and then I discuss other things that maybe not as typical to a paranormal book. I talk about working with teams and other people. I talk about some of the methods and ITC stuff that I got into, which the second book will be a lot heavier on. And I talk about the role of science and skepticism a little bit. And there was one more thing it's falling off my tongue every time I want to say it.
I heard there's some really good forwards in it too.
The forward, yes, I was saving that for last. The forward was written by none other than Mr. Tony Rathman, who, in my opinion, is one of the best ITC people in the business. So that was a huge honor for me to have. The final chapter is like 12 or 15 ITC people who are amongst the best today, ghost box builders and otherwise, because I think if you want to profess that you're part of a community and not just all about me, that's stronger in action than it is in word. So I put it on paper in word and action. And the whole last chapter is some of these amazing people giving advice to somebody who is an aspiring ITC operator. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is that it also talks about parasocial behavior. It talks about our role, because when this stuff was taboo years ago, we didn't have the social media outlets to share stuff, to discuss things. There were forums that were more underground at a certain period in time, but not like now. And I think there's ethical codes and behavioral standards of dignity that you have to have for yourself, regardless of other people, to hold yourself to. So I talk about that a little bit too, because I think that's important for what we do. So thank you very much for putting it out there. And again, thank you for your contribution. It was awesome.
Absolutely. And, you know, the fact that you got that all put together, written, and submitted for publication. It's supposed to be out this year, right? You don't know exact timing yet, but we'll
Not yet,
definitely
but
let the audience know when it's ready.
They got the art going. The editing process is underway, from what I understand. So hopefully not too long. They're a niche publishing company beyond the fray. They have some talented authors, really talented people that I'm amongst there. And their work is really second to none. It's great stuff. So I'm honored to be a part of that whole organization now, and I'm very excited to see it come out.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
And for everybody listening, I'm gonna be coming out with a paranormal pop-up book that if you don't like your stepchildren later on, it'll be a fantastic release.
All good.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. I would like to bring on and introduce our guests, Kory and Lexi McFadden from Married to the Void. Here they come.
Woo!
Hey,
guys.
Yeah.
I'd like to say also a big awesomeness to Ron and his book. I hope it kills it, man. And we will definitely be looking to get our copy and a nice signature.
Yeah, I was just
Right.
it.
I appreciate that. You know, before they introduce themselves, we met them at the Jersey Para Unity Expo last September when we were hosting an ITC exhibit. And they came in and they couldn't have been nicer, more personable, knowledgeable. And we struck it right away and just like connected. And we were talking and said, we're going to stay in touch. We got to get you guys on the show. And then I came across this business card a little while afterwards. I'm like, I got to reach out because we have to have them on the show. And then when I lectured just a couple of weeks ago for the Paranormal Meetup in upstate New York, they drove all the way up there out of support and as friends and showed up. And I thought that was also something that says volumes of the type of people they are. And that, you hear me say this on all the shows, personal integrity and who you are is superior to whatever level of paranormal investigator or research you are. Because at the end of the day, that's all of who you are, not just a segment of it. So I appreciated that a lot.
Hey, man, teamwork makes the dream work, you know?
It was awesome. It was awesome. We always learn something every time we see you.
Honestly, at the Paranormal Expo, your guys' whole thing was like amazing compared to most of the other stuff there. We loved your whole segment. We were like, this just blew us out of the water. I was like, wow, the whole direct voice thing. I was like, this is just amazing. And the whole lecture.
I appreciate that.
The woman from
that was our goal.
Yeah,
our goal was to do something that was not just demonstrative, but also participatory for people to actually maybe get, evidence and capture something. And we had the room filled up a few times, and some people didn't even leave the room for hours.
They stayed with us all day.
So that was
fantastic.
Cool.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that at all. And you guys
tonight it's about Married to the Void.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it is. So
thank you.
My first question, and I'll give both Lexi and Kory a chance to answer on their own behalf. So we'll start with Lexi. How did you get involved in the paranormal? How long ago? How did it lead you up to what you're doing today? And, was it the experiences as a young kid, or did something happen later? How did that occur?
And make sure you explain what the void is when you guys do this. So, because they're going to notice that Kory's in a different room and we don't want him to void.
For me, it actually started, I was 7 years old. My grandmother had just passed away and she visited me just like that. That's basically where it started. As a kid, your parents are like, no, it was just a dream, oh no, you couldn't have seen it. Come to find out later on, I was 12 years old, playing around with, of course, the very well-known Ouija board because it was a board game. Didn't know what I was doing. And it turned out that our house that we lived in was actually haunted. And we caught paranormal evidence on actual tape. My father still has the tape to this very day.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I'd love to show if I could figure out how to convert it at one point. And it just went on from there. It was just the attraction. It was like, why have I seen these things? Why is this happening? And that was basically it. That was the path. It started with grandma, then it came with the haunted house, with the actual evidence that we still have to this day. and here we are. We just love it.
That's so cool. So cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Kory, what about you?
I mean, ever since I was a kid, man, I've always been into the different and strange, you know. I really truly enjoy horror novels and books like that. I used to take friends of mine when we were like kids, like to the insane asylum, and you know, I knew how to get around everywhere, so I'd take everybody around and do it all. When it comes to ghosts and stuff like that, Lexi's really more in tune, I guess you can say, than I am. I have a big thing with cryptids and aliens because I've seen stuff I can't explain, like absolutely blew my mind away stuff. And now that we've been doing more of the paranormal investigations and going to haunted places with spiritual energies, I'm seeing more of that as well. Like things that are talking, there's no way, like you'll see that some of the clips we sent you, I don't hear anything. And I go back and I'm listening, I'm like, what was that? Are you crazy? Like, how did that work? Like, it freaked me out. And then the thing walking up, but like, recently it's been getting crazier. When I was younger, like I said, it was more like I like the excitement of it. Like, ooh, we're in a dark place of the unknown. I want to go explore. And then I was more like urban explorer until we started actually really getting into this. And now I'm seeing more and more of the spiritual energies than the actual, I guess, alien energy. I don't know how to explain that. Like, just, you know, like I said, I'm more into like the aliens. Like, I've always been sci-fi. I'm a big Trekkie. Like, I like the sci-fi. And now I'm more getting into the spiritual aspect. And it's like, it's really interesting. And it's really, you know, we really much enjoy it. Like, I want to have that experience where I see something, I'm going after it. If it's a shadow at the end of the hall, I'm chasing that thing down to figure out what that shadow is. I'm not going to go, oh, shadow, and run. I'm going after it. I want to know. I want to touch it. I want to see it. Like, come here, you know?
Right. Exactly. You know what?
You got the job, sir. You got the job.
Yeah. There's so much overlap between, you know, historic haunted places, between the paranormal or ghosts and spirits and extraterrestrial. The Conjuring House, Andrea Perrin has stated that day one they started to experience both ghosts, spirits, and extraterrestrial activity. Skinwalker Ranch, same thing. There is crossover and connection, and it makes it difficult for paranormal investigators to really determine, you know, if you see a shadow or a glimpse of what looks possibly like a cloaked figure, you know, do we know 100% what we're looking at? No, we don't. Could it be spirit? It could. Could it be extraterrestrial? It could. So that's, you know, the fact that you've got the interest in both, I think, is a good thing, because, hello, Carol, is because the paths do cross, and more information is coming out that when you have one, you could very easily have the other as well. So,
yeah, and I think people like you too, you really have a path of possibility laid out in front of you, where with what you do and what you're interested in at the same time. Because I think there were a few people, like Rosemary Ellen Guiley was big on, I think, looking at a lot of those different things simultaneously. She was very big on the jinn, and she believed in a lot of cases that things that were thought to be demonic or paranormal or even extraterrestrial, interdimensional, were all interdimensional stuff. It was the jinn. So there's possibilities with the crossover, and you could have a specificity of looking at that and maybe drawing parallels with some of the data and some of the things that you know as part of your path forward, because that's for a lot of people in the field, those are two split paths. But like Tony so nicely said, those paths do not have to be mutually exclusive, and people like you can start pulling them together.
Exactly.
Yep.
No, and they're doing some studies based on spiritual energy and energy. I mean, we all use EMF detectors. We use different types of equipment that actually detect energy that we assume the spirits are using to communicate. But what they're also noticed, like if you see some of the studies done at Skinwalker Ranch, when they had some of the extraterrestrial connections, it produced a lot of energy, and the same thing they got from the millimeters and the EMF detectors went off just the same as they do when we get spirit communication. So when you look at energy as a base of everything that we do, it provides that connectivity between the two. I mean, if spirits use energy to communicate and energy is used for, aliens or extraterrestrial life to communicate or connect with our planet, it all has a solid base to it that puts the two together. So the two of you investigating from two different realms and being interested in two different realms, that's a great combination, because it doesn't eliminate anything that you might pick up or capture.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
we're going to do. Is we want to kind of cover our basis of paranormal, because paranormal doesn't just mean ghosts and spirits. It's the paranormal. So we want to see. That's why we did like a 12-mile hike deep into Bastonia Trail in the Pine Barrens. We went out there until it was pitch black at night, waited till the sun went down, and made our way back out trying to find the Jersey Devil. Mind you, we got chased by something. We think it was a murder hornet. It wasn't an actual Jersey Devil, but we got chased by something. But we're trying to see if we can actually. I'm not saying like possess me or whatever. I don't want none of that craziness. But I want to actually try to invoke something to try and capture it. Like, oh, there's Bigfoot. Let me get my camera and start shaking it like this. No. I want to actually see something and get it so that people can go, what was that? My same question. What is that? You tell me. I want to know too.
Right.
Yeah, and what Chris was saying too makes sense too. If anything from another continuum or realm was trying to manifest or make itself known, it would in some level avail itself to energies that are within our realm where we are, because those sensory things are what we're equipped to feel, see, hear, electrical, sensory things, visual. That's what we're equipped to sense. That's our mechanism as a person. So they would avail themselves to some of that if they were able to, I would think.
It's a good point.
View on that capture that we did on the that program on my phone, the TOF viewer. So I have this TOF viewer on my phone. I have a Samsung, and we were in the 3rd floor of Hillview Manor, and there was just this. It looked like a portal over Kory's shoulder, and I was recording the entire time, and this portal just kept moving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he'd move, and this thing would just follow him around. There was nothing next, like with your eyes, there was nothing next to him.
Wow.
But it was like it was trying to make itself shown. And when we went to retrieve all the data from my phone, unavailable. The entire footage that we lost, except the FLIR itself, gone.
Wow.
We had a whole group of people with us that day. They all saw it. They were all standing behind me. It was trying to manifest this energy. I can't even describe what it looked like. It was amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah, we were thinking the same thing. We did an Elks Lodge or something in South Jersey, like Freehold or something, with Anthony Simonelli from Seekers Club at the Paranormal in Queens. And during a ghost box or spirit box session, they said something to the effect about the recording will erase them.
It said their recording will erase it or will delete it, something like that.
We'll erase them as well.
We'll erase it, yeah. And then
3 of the cameras were wiped.
Yeah, no. Well, what happened was we caught this big ball of energy. It was huge, and it shot up to the camera, and then everything shut off. Then we went to go retrieve it, and everything was deleted.
Yeah.
Everything was deleted.
Wow.
So they did exactly what they said they were going to do. They said they're recording, we'll erase it. We got the energy and knocked out everything, and everything was deleted.
And I looked it up. I looked it up in the manual, and that is not included in the Elks Club membership. It is not.
That's amazing, though, that you got the audio of them saying that and then having it happen. I mean, that's probability beyond calculation. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Only in Jersey. Only
so
in
it's
Jersey.
Similar to you, because you said you got that energy and then it got deleted. So
I would have liked the warning, though.
Maybe it was that coffee guy. Hey, we're recording on it, all right?
All right, let's take a look, because Kory and Lexi sent some really cool clips, and I apologize. I had to shorten a couple of them. I think one was almost 12 minutes long.
Yeah, that was deserted village. It was just long.
So I think I cut out the best parts of it, but I will give you an opportunity to describe what we're going to look at before I play it. And the first one I'm going to play is called the 1890 Museum. So which one of you want to tell us what we're about to look at?
Is it the which part of the 1890 museum? Because we sent you a couple on that one alone. Is it the one with the shadow creature in the living room area?
I only had one titled that.
Well, I know, but it was like a long segment of it. So we had to I put in 3 clips. There was the audio from upstairs in the pool hall with the girls, like they were talking and screaming.
Everything I received were MP4s. That's all that came through. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them.
Right.
Why don't you just play it, maybe?
Play it. We'll explain to you what we seen and where we were at that point.
Sounds good. Here's that clip.
What's your name? Are you a wickwire? Did you know the wickwires? Did you know the wickwires? Did you know the wickwires? Are you a stable boy here? Are you Grace Brown? Or are you Raymond? Are you Raymond? You want to come here and play with the horses? It's an animal? You like to see the animals? Or you like the birds? Quite a lot of pigeons. Do you take care of the animals here? If you could tell me your name, that would be a good start. Do you not like people coming in here to near animals? Think about it. You can talk to me through this box here. Maybe I need to put it lower. Are you a kid? Here. Why don't you talk to me now? Is that you, Raymond? Do you not like it when I play with the animals? No. No? Are they your animals? Do you want your dad to keep them? Raymond, is this you? You gotta tell me. I just want to talk with you, bud. Are you one of the workers here? Sometimes. So do you know the wick wires? I just heard something banging on the floor over here.
That's me. That's me.
Are you else?
It was me, because I.
Because we're chasing something, as you know, because you're with me. Put some music on. I want to see what happens.
And the music's something I was telling you guys sometimes cuts out, so yeah, I'll go turn on the music in the library.
Thank you. Footsteps. Whisper.
Wow.
All right, so that was the
That was
whole
good.
video. Okay, so we basically clipped out from the entire episode some of the really good stuff. I mean, there's a lot more there, but those were like I didn't want to give you too many things from one segment of our episode. But that first part, I was in the carriage house while Lexi was with the curator in the main house. I was in the carriage house by myself on the second floor, and we don't use the spirit box so much because it's so loud and it's hard to hear really, you know. Like we like to use our ghost box where it's clear. You don't really hear that constantly, but we still try to use it. So I was getting responses and it's hard to hear like that. Freddie, you can clearly hear Freddie. I wish I would have heard that right off the bat and I could have used that more. But I kept thinking it was Raymond because they said Raymond was in the carriage house more than all the other wick wires. So I kept going with that. And then Lexi, when she went into that part, I'll let her tell it because that shadow thing blew my mind. I was like, what? I looked at the black mass just move across the cabin. I was like, whoa.
I think it was the one that got me.
Yeah, 1890 Museum was definitely one of our more. And the fun thing is that we had the curator, Sean Amato, with us. And Lexi said, would you like to join us on the investigation? He said, sure. So I gave him the full spectrum camera. I'm like, let's go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's good to include somebody who's at a location all the time too. I think the familiarity they have with if there's anything there, a lot of times I mean in our experience it heightens the level of activity. If the person like is a caretaker or they live there or curator or whatever, they're there a lot, and if there's any familiarity of presence, they'll have it.
Yeah, Sean was pretty shocked after we sent him all the evidence of what we actually captured. He was like, I can't believe that you captured this.
It was some good stuff.
And thank you. And it actually turns out that after that, it may have stirred up a little bit more activity. They had some just regular viewers walking through the museum, and they said that they saw the rocking chairs shaking on their own. I'm like, that would have been great evidence.
Wow.
Right.
But
that was awesome clip though. I mean, you had everything from very crystal clear spirit box responses, and I'd say that thing was scanning 150 milliseconds or 100 because it was moving. And to get 3 or 4 or more words with that many channels scanning, that was impressive. The shadow figure I liked the most was the one that crossed in front of the china cabinet, completely blocking out the reflection from it. That was very cool. So great job on capturing what was going on there. So
Thank you.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was.
So I want to point something out. When Kory talked about being in the carriage house, situational awareness. This is a teaching point. Sorry, guys, I had to point it out. Things you got to look for when you're in old places like that is, so you looked at where Kory had his SB7 sit, and that was a hand sewn beam from the 1800s. You could tell that was built there, but you can also tell that they've added structure to that building because the steel cables that go through it to support it is something that wasn't added until later to actually support the rest of the building. And situational awareness, when you're doing an investigation like this, knowing where you're at, knowing what you're doing. That was probably a hayloft. You could see the old door off to the side. Is a fantastic location to catch stuff like that. And one of the main reasons why Kory was getting a lot of responses, because I can tell you right now, anybody in the 1800s to the early 1900s, you sneak into their barn where they keep their animals that support their farm and keep them fed and keep their money coming if they harvest their crops, they're going to be a little upset that you're in that building.
Right.
And that's going to get some responses. That was awesome investigating, Kory. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I asked him about the horses. Like, if you wanted me to play with the horses or you want to play with the horses, because Raymond was the younger, and it was like the animals. I was like,
oh yeah, those are work, man.
You have more than horses in here. Like, okay, but that was their carriage house. That's where, like, because the Wickwires were very rich, so they kept their horse carriages on the first floor, and all, like you said, all the hay up on the top floor. Yeah. You know, so they housed the horses in that area.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and I kept hearing things like with with headphones on, you can hear a lot better. So I try to amplify it as best I can. It's really hard sometimes to get the full audio, but if you throw headphones on and actually pay attention, you hear these little bangs and snaps right next to me, and I'm sitting here like, I'm hoping my camera's picking this up, you know.
And to mention the portion where they showed Lexi in the main portion of the house. Ringing that bell is huge because bells put off an energy vibration that actually moves the sound around and actually creates energy in the room. So using that bell 2 or 3 times might have actually triggered some of the activity that you caught. So that was a fantastic tool too that a lot of people don't even think about.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was. She was in there while I was out there, so that's when that happened. I kind of did like, if you actually watch the whole episode, you can see how I did it. But with her on that side, with the curator and me over there, we kind of wanted to separate, see if we could focus different energies. And sure enough, we did. And I don't know what it was. When she rang that bell, all you heard is that.
That creeped me out.
Yeah.
That was wild.
I tried to, my science head, Trekkie. I'm sitting here going, could it have been her? And I'm like, no, because there's no light. Her body's over here. Her camera light's facing this direction. There was nothing there. And then you just see a match just go whoop, right across. I was like, I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was very cool. And a lot of those responses, I agree with Tony. Some of those SB7 responses, like animal, that was clear.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And some of them were even hard to pick up because the cadence, you got some full sentences, like 4-word sentences, but they were quick. It's that cadence is kind of weird. It's like, but you can hear it though. You hear it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Almost like singing.
Well, and the most substantial part of that is
the girl voice you heard. And that's why we could, I tried to amplify it as many times as I could. And even like with the headphones on, you can hear these. And there's another one too. Like if you watch the whole thing, like I didn't want to give you too much again, like I said, but there's a male voice that talks at one point in that same area. And then the female, and that used to be a ballroom where they would have dances and host dances and stuff up there. And there's another scene where Lexi was by herself and something was talking to her through like the old record ampliphone is what they used to call them, I think, right? The record player. Something was talking to her through there, but you heard it sounded like these girls were just like singing, and then you hear like I was like, what was that, man?
Well, in one of the responses, I thought I heard it's a radio. It was singing though.
Right, we thought we heard
upstairs.
Yeah, it goes, it's a radio. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
But to add what Tony and Ron said too, the most fantastic thing about all the evidence is it's not only a response you're getting, but it's an intelligent response.
Right.
So you're getting a response to the music, you're getting a response to the animals where you're in the carriage house. They're intelligent response. They're just not clear responses. They're intelligence responses.
Right.
That's fantastic evidence.
Yeah, that was really good.
The fact that they were responding to our questions and not like just random words,
Timing and relevance, right, Tony? Timing and relevance. That's the governance
for the most important factor. It is the absolute most important factor. And I heard you speaking about that last night, which was very cool because it is. What did you ask? How long did it take to get the answer? Was it fast enough that it appeared to fit the question, which all of this did? And was it relevant to the question? And those are your two most important factors when doing any spirit communication. So EERT Radio wants to know do the spirits have to believe in this ability for us to communicate? I'm assuming you're talking about the ability to use the devices. They obviously have to know how to make it operational to get their voice to come through. And if they can do that, well, then I would think they have everything they need to communicate because they can hear us. They're only responding through a device so we can hear it. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, I would think
figure
that they're in the
device
same.
is just a bridge, and you can hear me clearly say you can talk into this device, so you're guiding the spirit to the device, and it's just a bridge for them to communicate to us.
I would not to parse words, but I also when describing things, I always take the stuff that's kind of the way we describe it as being very important. Also, I think it's an empirical experience thing, even from that side. I don't think that there has to be a belief. They don't have to believe in it, but if they've done it, or if they know it can be done, or if they've seen it done, or even if they stumbled upon it and it was done, then they're beyond having to have a belief in it. Then that there's a practical application and you can actually do it. I think that's what some of it is also, and I agree with what Tony said as well.
Well, you don't have to believe in gravity either, but it will do what it does, even if you don't believe in it. So that's my answer.
Well, that's what I was also going to say is they might not believe in it, but it just might be picking up the communication. They know they're trying to communicate. They're producing the energy to communicate. And sometimes it might not be the devices that we're using that they believe in, or because we explained it to them. It just might be the fact that we're picking it up. There's also that possibility too. If we had the answers, we wouldn't be here sitting here talking about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good point. All right. The next clip I'm going to play is, let's see, where am I? Okay. Crybaby Bridge water splash.
Yeah, that's so this whole segment right here, like I said, the videos I sent you, as you see, you'll see transitions. Like in that last one, you see those little transitions. That was me actually taking 3 or 4 segments from the actual episode and adding transitions to segment it because I didn't know how you wanted to actually play. So this Crybaby Bridge is not just a water splash. There's actually a few different things going on. And this is a Crybaby Bridge in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Here is that clip.
Is the woman of the bridge here? You heard that?
Yeah, we did.
It legitimately sounds like there are feet dragging across the top of the, I don't know if the hood or the car. It's definitely not above us. But first it sounded like it was walking, and now it sounds, I don't know if you guys can hear this, it's very faint inside the car. That's why the sunroof's open. If we start seeing feet dangling, that's it, we're out.
That's super crazy.
You guys hear that? Tapping on the back glass? Please tell me the camera got that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Correct me if I'm wrong before anybody starts commenting in the comments about something falling on top of the car. That was a covered bridge.
Oh,
That
100%.
was a completely covered bridge. And we were the only ones on it. We were parked in the middle of the bridge, basically blocking all the traffic that would have come down the road. And this bridge is supposedly haunted from a woman who supposedly threw her child off the bridge. You hear the baby crying, you hear the splash of water. And afterwards, she had hung herself. That's the story around it. And many people said that you could see, if you throw baby powder on your car, you could see feet marks coming from there. And I'm like, well, I really like my truck, so I'm not throwing baby powder down. But you could clearly hear, we were literally the only ones there. Nobody was moving. We weren't shifting. And it was just boom, boom, constant knocking and the tapping and the footsteps. It was pretty unnerving.
Yeah, what's really creepy about that sound bit is I challenge anybody to go outside, put a recorder in their vehicle, and use your fingernail and tap on the metal on top of your car, and I guarantee you replicate that sound. So that was a female fingertip hitting the top of that car. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. And it happened a few times, as you heard. There's a couple times that we didn't hear at the moment, but as you listen back on the recorder, you hear other times that it happens, and it's really honestly kind of creepy because, like I said, we thought and we could swear we heard what sounded like somebody walking around a car, but you can't see with the camera because obviously the camera can't pick up the light through the glass. But
Right.
we could see perfectly out through the window, and I'm like, I don't see nobody, but I'm hearing somebody out there, and then we're hearing tap, tap, tap. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
That was
Very cool.
Yeah,
Important too that Chris pointed out there's the situational awareness part of it too, because that's how you rule out false positives, and that's how you know you have something that's anomalous in nature or paranormal effect. Because anybody could have easily thought, well, duh, something fell on your roof. Not in a covered bridge. It's not. I mean,
Right.
it's much more unlikely that would be the case. Once you're in that location and you're aware of it.
Well, and anybody that's ever been in these areas that still have the covered bridges, even if they have the original roof that's on it, they use the original cedar shakes.
Right.
Yeah.
So they actually did the shingle effects where each shake overlaps each other. So there's no gaps in the roof. So the roofs they're shingled with these cedar shakes to dispel water.
Right.
There's no open holes, no acorns falling from trees getting through any gaps on the top, because these are waterproof bridges, and they're made that way because too much. So for anybody that doesn't know, wood will survive underwater for hundreds of years, and it actually makes it stronger. But exposed wood to air when it gets wet will deteriorate over time, and that was one of the reasons why they would put roofs on these old wooden bridges, because it was a main area of transport that they used to get from one place to the other. And these bridges were pretty good, substantial sized rivers beneath. And the reason that they would put these cedar shingle roofs on top of these old bridges is to keep the water shedding away from the roof, because if the water would hit the exposed wood underneath, it would eventually rot and weaken the wood over time. And in a short period of time, the wood would rot. So the bridge wouldn't last as long. So they'd put these cedar shake roofs on top so the bridge would last longer.
Right.
These bridges are waterproof, even if they do have the original roofs. And if most of these bridges, if you can drive a car across it today, they've supported these bridges. They've put new roofs on, more than likely metal roofs or any type of shingled roof on there. So these bridges are watertight. There's nothing getting through that's going to make that noise. And that distinctively sounded like a fingernail tapping on metal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, like I said, this is just segments from the whole. So if you watch us, at one point, the car's not on the bridge. We're just on the bridge. Like when I heard the splash, it was just us on the bridge, nothing around. You can see in the film footage, the bridge is dry, and you don't hear anything dropping around us anywhere. You look up, you can see a perfectly sealed, covered, nice bridge, the whole nine. And in one part in the beginning, because it's an actual still camera, you actually use a digital camera from a distance to get a picture of the bridge. Well, I zoomed in because I was like, I see something in the middle of the bridge, and I zoomed in on it. And it's just like, it looks like a red, red smoke, but it's bright, like it has its own light source to it. And it's the creepiest thing. And I zoomed in on it and actually have it as a still frame, I think towards the beginning of the actual episode. But it's really interesting. It looked like red smoke that had somehow had its own light source. Like, it was weird.
Interesting.
Wow.
So you guys want there?
All right. I am going to move on to the next one, and this one's called Hillview. Who are you?
Our favorite.
Oh,
All
good.
right. Let me play this clip. Here it comes.
Maybe make our rounds back later. Maybe he'll be a little more active later.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody's going,
Freaked me out. That gave me chills. And like when I would listen to it back over, I was like, oh my God. I was like, babe, listen to this. She's like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. It sounded like it was right here in my ear, but I couldn't hear it at the time.
All right. Let me play that one again because that was quick. Here it is.
Maybe make our rounds back later. Maybe he'll be a little more active later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great EVP.
Old hospital.
Yeah, that was not the camera. It's just, who are you?
The weird thing I found about that was the way his camera was flash. The light was actually flashing as the sound was coming in, and that was the most part of the most active part of the hospital for us was right there. We were standing in front of the nurses station, and we had Kory actually built a boo box, which is our brand of a REM pod. And we had it with us, and we were testing it out, and we were getting intelligent responses from the boo box. So that area
And the
right
K2
there,
meter, dude.
and the K2, and that area right there was the most active part for us. I mean, we loved it. That was our definitely favorite destination, but that was absolutely wild. But before the Who Are You, Kory doesn't know it, but he was doing one of these on his ear. He was touching his ear. It was like somebody was whispering. He didn't know somebody was whispering in his actual ear. He has no idea about it. But I remember after that.
I'm not as sensitive as she is.
Oh, babe?
All right. So the next one is also Hillview, and it's called Walking.
Oh my God! Right.
So here, here is that clip. What was that?
This one creeped me out bad. Like, this is like live in your live time, like real time. Like this, there was no listening back on an EVP recording. This is real time, and it freaked me out pretty bad.
So this was audible.
I chased it down anyway.
All right, here's that clip.
You might hear that. Hello? Oh man, that can't be real. No way. Holy man. Hey, are you guys above us, like in the area 203?
Wow.
Yeah, distinct.
It sounded like a mass my size walking above us. Static cams from that area picked up nobody up there. Team 2 was in like the other side of the building. It was insane. I was like, this can't be real. Like, there's no way like something is walking above us right now.
And to add, we were Facebook Live when that was going on. We were Facebook Live and caught it. And all of a sudden, it was just like, what's going on? And at Hillview, if you guys have been, they monitor you. They can check the cameras in other sections of the hospital and everything. So we went back and we were like, was there anybody above us? Like, we knew the other team was on the other side. They were doing their own thing. And sure enough, they were like, nobody's here. Whoa. So, okay, that's awesome. What did we just capture? We went upstairs, couldn't find any source of it. Nothing showed itself. Nothing came about. It was just, I want to make noise. Boom, 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 boom.
And the other team didn't hear anything from where they were at?
No. They were at the hospital, nowhere near us.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they were first floor. They weren't even on the second floor. They weren't on the third floor. They were probably about 800 feet or more from us in an actual hospital. And that was that was definitely the kicker. It was a lot of fun to experience something like that. But you guys don't know how big Kory is. Kory's 6'2".
I know.
So
Pick me.
Well, he doesn't look little on camera.
Yeah, I'm taller than him on camera.
So I want to point out something to everybody watching. The first thing they did when they heard these footsteps is, where are the other teams? Validate what they're hearing. Who's where in the hospital? And the fantastic part is I heard you in the clip. Immediately get on the radio and go, hey, where are you guys at? That is huge when you're presenting evidence. Is, did you validate where you were? Did you validate where everybody is at? Did you record what you caught? Did anything else record it? And then you guys even went to the hospital and you checked their recordings too to verify that nobody was up there. And that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I always do it. Always. Lexi's like, babe, what do you think of this? And I'll sit there, listen to it, watch from different angles, and I'm like, nah, like I don't want to use that because that doesn't seem like that's something that's actually paranormal. Like I don't want to just use everything. And she knows, like, when it comes to orbs, especially, like I'm very hesitant about using them. But we get some orbs that we do use in our clips that there's no way it's a bug. It has not enough mass to be a bug, but yet it's got too much actual intelligent motion to be dust. Like I'm watching things move around like this and just, but it has no solidity to be an actual insect or a creature. It's like more polymorphic, but it moves, not like a dust cloud would be like something like this. These things are like, and I'm like, nah, that's an orb. That has to be an orb.
Yeah, the footsteps thing I find fascinating a lot of times because there's two classic examples of how they get captured, and it's funny because I almost think that they're underrated as a piece of evidence. You either have and we've had these instances with a door slam one time when nobody heard it in the moment, but on the recording it sounds clear as day that something slammed, right? In this instance, it's the other where you heard it in the moment, you cleared up that it was not anybody there, and then it was still ambient sound that was captured in the room. What's fascinating to me about that is that once you ruled out that it was anybody on your team, and then once you ruled out that it was something that was completely paranormal because you heard it in the moment, that means that the sound itself is not the paranormal effect, but the source of it is. Because something interacted with the laws of physics and nature as we know it where we are, and they caused a disturbance in the air, which by definition is what a sound is. You heard it, your devices heard it. But the source was completely unknown and anomalous and unseen. That's what's fascinating to me about that. It's more than just, I heard footsteps. That's the source is what's crazy. Equally, I think crazy is a voice sometimes.
Agreed. And that's an excellent point. Both what Chris said, the importance of knowing where the other teammates are, what's going on in the building, who's there. And then you're absolutely right. The sound is the effect of it, but the paranormal cause is what you don't know where it's coming from. And that's the real mystery. So,
and for people watching who may be new too, the brilliance of the assessment of everything we've just said starts with what Chris said, because that's step one. If you can't get past that hurdle, then the rest of the discussion doesn't need to follow.
Very true.
Yep. Good point.
So Chris is spot on once again. All good 1, doubters 0.
All right. I'm just going to make an announcement because there's about just a few minutes left. But so anyone listening on the sorry, I'm not sure what that was. On the KGRA radio network, they are going to flip over to their next show in about a couple of minutes. If you wish to continue watching, we are going to continue on. You can switch over to the Facebook pages or the YouTube pages and continue watching the show. If not, feel free to go on to KGRA's next scheduled program. And thanks for listening if you do. All right. With that said, the next one I'm going to play is called Shadow House Entity.
Okay, before we play this clip, we just want to let you guys know this was an actual home. It wasn't like a haunted mansion or an asylum. This was actually a family that asked us to come over there and find out what's going on because something was bothering their child. So in the beginning of the actual episode, we blank out any names, any addresses, and we just let people know that this is, a family home that we wanted to cleanse and help. They helped the kid basically because he was feeling negative and things were going on. They weren't sure. They're more skeptical about this whole thing. We showed them this evidence. They kind of bugged out, but this is the one thing that we caught that I was like, what is this? So
awesome. Well, let's take a look. Here is that clip.
Like this jacket and this punching bag right here started moving on its own. The K2 started spiking to red. It was insane, and it was just the two of us.
Wow.
yeah. So we couldn't figure out what it was. I looked over everything I could possibly been in that basement to do anything like that. But our camera, I turned and it was just as quick as this. And I was like, what was that? And I had to replay it 3 or 4 times. But the camera goes black. This thing that looks like a head and hands in a V form come across the bottom of the screen. The camera goes black again, and then it's all normal. So I was like, that's why I considered it an entity, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, wild.
Yes, Tony. I would love to see that again. Thank you for asking.
No problem. Here it is.
Like this jacket and this punching bag right here started moving on its own. The K2 started spiking to red. It was insane, and it was just the two of us.
Wow. I saw this.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And it wasn't like it just like popped in. It slowly came in, did like this, and then went out of frame. But it was my camera just went black. Then that happened, then black again. And it happened, dude. If you watch it like in the beginning, it's just instant.
It's so
like,
quick.
Oh, wow. Right.
Yeah.
But that's good attention to detail on review,
It's very
because you
quick.
could easily miss that at the speed it happens. You have to slow it down and watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's so quick. It's so
You know,
quick.
That sort of reminds me of remember that movie with Michael Keaton called White Noise?
It
I love
does.
it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, where he would record the video and then he'd slow it down and he'd capture the images in the white noise.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of. Interesting.
Visual ITC. That's something I wanted to take more. We started doing a little bit of a dive into. Some of the stuff people have gotten on visual ITC is staggering.
Yeah.
Like people, but there are distortions to their physical features that if somebody was hoaxing it, they would go for accuracy. They wouldn't go for an extended earlobe. Like when Friedrich Jurgensen died, he was one of the founders of EVP. A couple hundred miles from where he was being buried, a couple of his friends saw his face on the white noise in their television. But it's spot on him. But like the one earlobe was really long. There were some physical distortions that were just absurd. So yeah, that movie's great, and that is a really weird little thing that comes in there on the bottom, and the fact that it affected the camera to black it out. Remember, we were at Whitehill one time, and someone had a night vision camera that had to be clicked to go from night vision to regular. You had to hit the button, and then it would go black, and then it would switch modes. And it did it on its own. It was like a big burst of light. It was none of the lights in the basement. This was at Whitehill, Tony.
Yeah.
And then it just came back in night vision again after it flashed from no source we could tell what the light was. Big burst of light, and it switched out of night vision.
Yeah, I remember you telling that story when we were there. Very cool. So Tracy just put this up, and I just want to comment on this. But she actually, when that movie had come out,
oh wow,
she actually interviewed Michael. And if you've never seen the episode, it's really cool. But it's the beginning of the show, and she asked him if he believed in spirits, ghosts, and he's like, nope. And then he's like, all right, we're done. End of show.
Yeah, Michael.
Very comical of him, but yeah, definitely.
I'll never watch Batman the same way again now.
I know, right?
Yeah, nice shirt, all good. Nice.
Yeah, Superman over here.
Look at that.
All right. I am going to move on to the next one. And this one is called Deserted Village ITC App Communication.
All right. So this was one of the first places that we went to that was how can I explain? It was very large. It's a huge village in the middle of the woods, but there's many houses all along the pathway. And we went through the cemetery, and it was from back in the 1800s, this place. And they wound up turning it into like, I want to say Section 8 housing. And then a woman wound up dying there. There was a painter, like a Spanish painter there, who made murals that was like very famous. And a woman wound up burning to death there, and we had no idea. We wound up talking to the groundskeeper after the fact because he was the one that gave us access. And he told us about the woman burning because we're like, yeah, we talked to a woman that said she was burning. He was like, really? He's like, well, this woman actually died there because her son fell asleep smoking or something, and it lit up the house, and she died in the fire. So we're like, wow, but you'll see it's really creepy the program that we use.
All right. Here is that clip.
Inside of the house is gone to ruin. If you want to talk to us, you can talk to this thing right here in my hand. Let us know if it's still here. You're buried on the site. Oh, the hell.
Shame, that must have been beautiful on its time.
So they might be trying to rework on it here with the fence. So they might be trying to rework on it here with the fence. Inside these buildings. That makes me figure out a full psycho. Get more. Oh, look at this thing.
Yeah, that's not creepy or anything. Do you see that, guys?
Keep demon.
You guys see that?
Want to do a spirit box session?
I think we should definitely do it, but over here.
Is there anybody here that wants to talk? You can talk right here into this phone I'm holding. This electronic device will let you speak.
Lips.
Hello? You hear that?
I heard that. Somebody singing. You have a beautiful voice.
Help?
Oh. What do you need help with?
Are you lost? Hi. Are you lost?
There's a lot of voices coming in over here. How many are there of you?
12.
12.
I heard 12.
Do you guys need help crossing over?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Are you workers that used to live here? Or families of workers? Do you like the fact that people spray painted on your building?
Oh, where's the woman? The woman that was singing to us. Were you sitting on this porch at one time?
Porch.
Oh.
Did you say porch?
Can you see us here? Yep. Okay.
Where are you? Are you inside the house here?
Are you trapped? Well, thank you for talking with us, all of you, all 12 of you.
If you have anything more to say, you can walk to that little box right there, the green light, and light it up. If you touch it, it'll light up. You want to touch it for us? Yes, that box right here. With the green light.
I can feel something. Is that the woman that was singing to us? I feel you. Are you guys still here with us? Yeah.
Hi, trapped.
You're trapped?
Where are you trapped? Under the house? No? Where are you trapped at then? Woods? You saying woods?
I'm pretty sure that just said woods.
Where in the woods are you trapped?
Behind us, down this cliff. Did you fall down the cliff? Porch.
You're trapped on the porch? Did
Ah.
you die on the porch?
Guys, I've got chills running up and down my body. Do you see anything? I'm sorry, we can't see you. We're having
Did you
trouble
die on the
seeing.
porch?
It was the woman. Look, I'm not even kidding. All the hair is standing straight up on my arms, guys. I didn't even know.
Alright guys, well, thank you for talking to us. If you want to talk to us more, just let us know.
Yeah.
That's
a great clip.
It is a great clip.
Yeah, like he said, it's a really long one, but I edited that for time too. But it continues going, and that there's a segment part after that where she goes, "I'm burning," but that's the house she actually died in, and the house that burned down was that house.
But the porch is significant. Do you remember why?
What?
Do you remember about the porch, what he told us? So the groundskeeper actually told us after we had caught all this evidence, that she used to, the woman who was burned and who passed away there, used to go out on the porch every single day.
Right.
Every single day. So we feel like that was her. And we didn't know it, like I said, until after. We went in completely blind, didn't know any history. We were just like, let's see what's going on. And sure enough, and it kept going back to that woman.
Wow.
Wow.
It's called necrophile.
Yeah.
So let me add to this a little bit, and this will add some validity to what you caught. So in 2003, I was burned over 43% of my body, and I spent weeks in the burn unit, and that's why I'm so heavily tattooed today, is it covers up some of the scarring that I had from my burns. And what sticks out and stands out with me is the fact that she says still burning, because I can tell you I spent 8-9 weeks in the burn unit, and I spent probably another 2 to 3 months getting treatment, and you still. So when you're burned, they basically scrape the infected skin off your body, the dying skin, and for weeks up to a couple months after you're actually released from the burn unit, your body's your skin that was affected still feels the sensation of the burning.
That's crazy, brother.
So I want to add validity to that, what you caught there. If you've caught an EVP where she says still burning, I'm telling you from personal experience, 3 to 4 months after I was released from 2 months in the hospital, 2.5 months in the hospital, I still felt the sensation of being burned.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's more information to that EVP you caught that you didn't have, and I'm glad I'm able to provide that to you as somebody that actually experienced what she experienced. The good thing is I didn't experience the death portion of it.
I was gonna say thank you for your experience. It sucks you went through it, but appreciate the knowledge.
But more than likely, the reason she passed away, a couple months after she was released, was infection got into the open wounds that were still left after the treatment that she was still receiving. Is why she probably passed away.
Oh my God. Wow. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Wow. The mention of Kory's name is is unmistakable And I know that some people will have skepticism about apps and stuff, and I get it because it's programming involved. Some people think that the microphone records you, so if you say, say glasses, then now the app has the word because you said it, so it's going to give it back to you. Nothing paranormal, yada yada. But nobody said, Kory, that I heard, for one, and for two, if just to play devil's advocate, if somebody had even said it, it still does not explain the timing and relevance part of it too. If it just spit your name back out, then you would go, "What is this?" It would go, "Kory." You go, "What are these?" Kory. Those are not Korys.
Yeah.
The big guy, beard, that's the Kory.
That's Kory.
Well, that necrophonic app we actually really prefer. It's a great ITC program. It's kind of like an Ovilus. The way it uses it's the synonym of words. It's like the but there's no actual physical word. And they have the entire diary list that's inside the program. There's not a single real word in there.
Yeah,
it's allowing the spirits like an Ovilus to use these to create a word. And every time, so we started doing it after that, but every time we use it, we shut the phone into airplane mode, so we're getting no outside signal sources at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the name of the app is Necrophonic Stop, right?
Yeah. Love that app. It is amazing.
Yeah,
so that's the app. Whoever asked, someone asked in the chat.
Yeah,
so
it's just sound fragments, allophones.
Well, show it again.
Phonemes. Yeah, it's just sound fragments.
Yeah, see, they have the DR60 sound bank. That's it. There's no actual physical words in the entire program.
Right, and I have it because as someone whose specificity and fascination is ITC, and I said this actually on the Tracy Austin show last night, which was awesome. She's awesome. Big plug.
She
okay,
is
I'm
awesome.
done. But I said that because to be an ITC person, I refuse to speak on something I have no experience on. If I have a little experience, I'll say, well, I've tried it, but I'm not sure. If I use it a lot, then I'll have an opinion, and it doesn't mean I'm right. That's just my opinion. But I won't speak on it if I haven't touched it. So I have some of the apps, EchoBox, Necrophonic. I have some of them, and some of them have delivered, and I really can't explain, any more than any other device delivering why it does it.
That's an excellent point, though. If you haven't used it, and I'm not talking about once for 10 minutes, I'm talking enough to know whether it's going to deliver responses or not. If you haven't done that, then the fact that you say you can't speak to it, I agree. If you haven't tested it and gone through it, its complete workings, tested it in multiple locations, it's impossible because we don't know the variables. We don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work, unless you get it in your hands and try it for yourself. And that's one of the frustrations I personally have with people in the paranormal community is they'll start ripping on somebody for using something or using something new or different. You can't do that. It might work. We don't know. So until they've tested it and then you've tested it yourself, I agree with you completely. You can't speak to it.
And it's always an individualized open case. It's never completely closed. I mean, a perfect example, if you take it completely out of the realm of paranormal, this is an electronic device right here. It doesn't always work. I pay for it every month.
Right.
And it doesn't always work.
Hear me now?
So just because of the app doesn't always work doesn't mean that it doesn't work at all. So if you're for a cynical point of view, for something to never be effective, the cynic has to be right 100% of the time. The person who thinks the method works only has to be right once. And it works. Nothing's 100%. Technology here or otherwise.
Well, and the other big difference is you're talking on AT&T or Sprint to, when we're using Ghost Box apps, Spirit Boxes, you're talking to, other dimensions or God knows where. We don't have that answer either. But it's not like you can just make it happen or make it happen quicker or clearer. It is what it is. So
none of us know if the spirits have 5G or not.
No, that's true. We don't know. They have flip phones, possibly. Some of them might have.
They may have 10G, and we're not compatible.
That's right.
They have 10G,
and we're not compatible. We're still
Actually, that's not funny. Did you ever see? There's a TV show that they came out with Simon Pegg, and he came out with a TV show called Believers. And that's what they do. They hunt ghosts over in Europe, and supposedly they came out with 6G, and it's allowing them to communicate with all the spirits. It's a good TV show. I think it's on Prime. It's really good.
Yeah, but the planes can't land.
We open up portals, but planes can't get to us.
That's right.
Yeah, no, Tony
All
made a
right.
great point though too. That's called temporal synchronization. You don't have line of sight transmission reception in the same plane. It's not line of sight communication. So wherever it's coming from, we don't even know how it gets to us, and we don't know how they hear us. So
Right.
Kory coming out of an app in the middle of nowhere where there's probably not even good cell signal anyway. And Kory's there. Kory's there. Did I point that out? Kory was there.
I see.
Well, and to add to that a little bit too, you had multiple voices coming through. At one point, they even told you it was 12.
12.
Right.
Actually, it even said it twice. Actually,
It actually said it.
We use this app quite often, so we've come to find out that it's not just so you might hear a male voice, you might hear a female voice, you might hear a kid voice. It doesn't mean they're male, female, or a child. It could just be one person, but it's picking up that because those are what in the DR60 sound bank. So it could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a boy. So we just basically try to go off of what's best intelligent to our question. So if I say how many people are there, and they say 12, I know they're answering my question. Like we did at the Aaron Burr house, and I didn't send you a clip of it, but at the Aaron Burr house, we were with the caretaker there, and she got really nervous with the app because we started asking questions, and I was like, I wonder if they even know what year it is. I'm like, what year do you think it is? And they were like 97. I'm like 97, 1997. I'm like 1897. I was like, oh my God, like they were actually thinking of the year that they were like they passed away in, and I was like, this is really creepy. And she was like, I'm getting really nervous here because I started answering her questions like on spot. I didn't know how much to send you. I was going to send you that, but I was like, I think I sent them too much already.
Right. And there were no K2s until 1898. Everybody knows that.
It's very interesting though what you say about the voices and them using whatever bits and sounds that they are, what they can get to make the word, because sometimes I feel like maybe that happens with direct radio voice. Maybe when it is a male or excuse me, a female or a male voice, maybe it's not female or male. They're just using whatever available
sound wave,
sound waves that they can pick up.
I 100% agree. And that's something like when you did your lecture. It's okay. When you did your lecture, Ron, that was something I wanted to bring up. That's my field of work is RF, radio frequency. Like I know how to test, I test it. I do PIM, which is phase intermodulation. I do all that with cellular equipment. So I know when you're talking about like all the bandwidths and how to bleed out the bandwidths, I know all about it. Like I work from the 700s all the way into the 5,000 gigahertz. Oh, wow. I know all about non-ionizing and ionizing radiation and how you get the streams that go like this through the X radiation, so you can see the streamline. And it's really interesting is that when you were talking about that, I'm sitting here going, that makes more sense. Like when they're trying, if let's say the spirit is just out of phase and it's trying to talk to us, when it does, it's using not legit sound where sound is using like a wavelength. It's carrying its own sound on a bandwidth that we're picking up in our brain. We might actually be hearing it with our own ears, but we're picking it up as we are in our own mind. Like the wavelength just comes through. We're not actually hearing it as much as we're feeling it in our head. That's why mediums pick up these voices and they hear them talking. They're not talking with their ears. They're not hearing with their ears. They're hearing with their mind because they're speaking on bandwidths.
Right. Yeah. And it's not a
telepathic. I'm sorry, Ron.
Go ahead.
Kory just ultimately defined telepathic communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's delta brainwaves. Like that's what it is. It's a brainwave frequency that we can't. I mean, I can't, or anybody else that I know of can push out of their mind.
Right.
But spiritual creatures and people that are mediums or telepaths can actually use their brain to push that frequency out or bring it in.
That's true. And in some instances, though, too, I think sometimes this came up on Tracy's show last night when people think that maybe the user is putting the signal out through the device that they're using, like the radio or the spirit box or ghost box, and causing their own response. But there's no way you're not emitting a long wave frequency from your head And not to mention the fact that there are various senses of humor, dialects, vocal tones, information, knowledge. There's so many variables that no one person has all that stuff in their head, languages, to be able to spew that way. So I think the user is part of the equation, for sure. But yeah, I don't necessarily think that it's coming from the user into the radio either.
Right.
You just touched on that, and that just reminded me of the 1890 House Museum, where Kory did a sensory deprivation spirit box session, and they were speaking German. Neither of us are German. We don't speak German. We didn't know that about the house, that he had German workers who built the house. We didn't know that.
He worked on the property as like maids and servants.
And he had German. He goes, what does it sound like? It sounds like they're speaking German. And then after we were all done with the investigation, the curator explained to us, oh yeah, they had German workers here. We were like,
wow.
We do the sensory deprivation. I black my eyes out, plug my ears, and I just put the walkie down. She asked the questions, and in my ears I have the necrophonic app. So again, here's a good thing. My necrophonic app is blocked out from the microphone because it's now in my head, it's in my ears with my mouth. She's talking on the radio, and all I'm doing is repeating things that I'm hearing. So I'm saying, she's asking questions, and I'm like, Maria, I don't know, a foreign language. And that's just coming out as what I'm hearing. And I'm not answering like everything. If I hear something go like, hey, no, I'm just only saying the things that I can clearly, definitively hear.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes.
I believe that's called the Estes method.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one clip left, and this one's called Pennhurst ITC.
Oh, Pennhurst.
Pennhurst.
Here is that clip.
Please what? Please help? What was your name? There's so many of you. What do you want help with? What can I help you with? Do you want me to help you move on? Are you a patient here?
It's him. Do you hear that? Who is it? Who's him? Kory? Did he just say Kory?
He just said Kory.
What is
Do you see
that?
my husband? I do.
What is going on, dude? That's super creepy.
We have intelligent responses here.
How do you know me? Are you the one that's activating the RIM pod? We are. What is going on? You were a burn victim here?
There are so many people here. Can we help you with... Did you hear that?
No. What did he say?
It was a whole sentence. I'm going to let you talk, and you tell us what you need us to do.
It sounds like they keep saying my name.
Carol? Can we help you with something? There are so many. How many people are here with us?
How many spirits are here with us?
Are you tired? Whisper. You want me to be quiet?
like 5 at one point. Did you hear that?
There's a child here. Who's the child here? Spirit.
Spirit box?
Oh, how do you know that there's a spirit box?
They might need to try their spirit box over here too. What's your name?
I can't understand you. Can you try again? What's your name?
Yes, I can't. Why does he keep saying my name?
Are you saying Kory?
Let me out.
Let you out of where? Were you trapped here? Who wants us to let them out?
What is the deal? Touch him. Did you just say touch him?
Were you just watching us on top of this, peeking over this thing? You were. I knew you when I saw you. I saw you. Yeah. Right here. There's something. I swear. There's something right over the top of this thing, just peeking its head over.
I'm here now. What? I can't wait to analyze this later.
Is it you that's attracted? Kory again.
That's so crazy.
Why are you trying to call my husband? Hello.
Why do you
calling my husband Kory to talk? That was an intelligent response. It said to talk. They want to talk to you. Talk to them. Go ahead.
What do you guys, what do you want from me? I can't hear you if you're all talking at once.
For your help.
What do you need help with?
Closet.
Wow.
That was great.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one still gives me chills.
Right before he almost took the phone from you, it said talking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot.
That's not a normal name. You don't just hear Kory all the time. Like Kory is not a normal name. You know, like if it was like an Adam or something, like I get that, but like to hear Kory, and it has more often. My wife's like, "You're not like I'm not as susceptible as it is to her. Like she senses stuff, I don't." But they always want to try to communicate with me. I don't know what's the deal. Like maybe my energy draws them in or something. I don't know, but I don't sense them as well as she does. But they're always trying to communicate with me.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. There might be a co-resonance that where they are maybe your energy or something about you that they're drawn to, or that they feel that you're open to, or to communicate. I mean, sometimes we see things that you see a lightning bug in the dark. We don't know if they see us, right? I mean, sometimes it may not be two-way as far as the visibility goes.
Right.
So for whatever reason, they're drawn to, and they're saying Kory a lot.
There's always the possibility too, Kory, that you have the energy and the ability, you just don't know it.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, and they're reaching out to you to make you realize that
That's
you
very
do have an
possible.
ability that you're not tuning into.
Yep.
I thought
That
it was
is-
really interesting. That's why I sent you the clip. Is how they were trying to tell us where they were buried. Like it said, Carol out in the mud. I was like, because there's a potter's
Yeah.
field right there in Amherst, and I was like, that's pretty creepy.
That's creepy.
Yeah, those are some incredible responses. I agree. I think we're trying to tell you something, or felt that you'd be able to interpret the messages, but we are running short on time. So I want to give a huge thank you to Kory and Lexi for coming on tonight.
Thank you for
For
having
us. It's awesome.
Some awesome clips for us to take a look at. I want to say thank you to KGRA, of course, to Bill for putting out our show each and every week. And of course, I want to say thank you to everyone in the audience. Without you guys, there would be no reason for us to put together or put out a show. So thank you very, very much. Real quick, Kory, Lexi, do you want to tell people where they can take a look? Do you have YouTube, Facebook channels that if they want to check out other stuff, where can they do that?
All right. We have Facebook, Married to the Void, Instagram, Married to the Void, TikTok, Married to the Void, and YouTube, Married to the Void. All together.
Pretty much, they can get to any of them by Married to the Void.
I think Google, just like that, it pulls up our website, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube.
Or you open this up and just say Kory.
There you go.
And wait. And you wait.
And just real quick, how did you come up with that name, Married to the Void? Does it have a...
Well, we were just laying in bed one night and we were like really, really wanting to start doing this. And we're thinking of names and we're like, Married to Evil. I'm like, ooh, that sounds catchy, right? And I'm like, well, and then Lexi goes, well, that sounds really kind of negative, like Married to Evil or evil. Like, we don't want to put that out there. And we're like, well, I'm like a void. Like, I can literally walk into a room with spiritual energy and it just dies. So I'm like, well, she's married to the void. And the void is
so you are the void.
The void is the space where spiritual energy is supposed to be coming through. It's the void. You step into the void, you're walking through the veil. So it's a double entendre of words. I'm the void, and we go into the void.
Very cute. Awesome. I like that. Yeah,
that is very cool.
All right, Chris or Audra, or you guys can fight over it. But do you want to give a closing line?
All right, guys. If you want to catch wonderful evidence like you saw here tonight, you don't have to be married to the void. You have to be passionate. You have to be consistent. You have to stand your ground, and you have to stay haunted. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.